Welcome to the domain. My name is Dusk, and this is your introductory guide to Tyrian lore for the Guild Wars 2 player. Have you ever adventured through an area in the game and were just dying to know more about it? Maybe a character or a ruin caught your attention and you just wanted to know more. Well, you're in luck, because in this series of videos, I will dive into that lore and answer as many of those burning questions you may have. And what better way to bring you the history of Tyria than through the original Guild Wars story? Think of it as a kind of a documentary series. So let me join you on discovering Guild Wars 2 for the first time. To help keep things in order, I will cover the world, races, and places in the order that they appear in the original Guild Wars campaigns. This means starting with Prophecies, so if you're human or Char main, this is really going to interest you, because a lot of the lore delves into the relationship between the Char and the humans. So, needless to say, for this first video, I will start with Ascalon and the war that destroyed the human kingdom and allowed the Char to build atop of its ruins. So part 1, Ascalon and the Searing. The last day dawns on the kingdom of Ascalon. It arrives with no fanfare, no tolling of alarms, and those who would remember will speak fondly of the warm morning breeze. People carry on with their daily lives, unaware that in a short while, everything they have ever known will come to an end. Humans and Char are both options for playable races in Guild Wars 2. These races have quite the history with each other. The Char were the first. After fighting amongst themselves for much of their early history, one Char leader was able to prove his dominance over the others and united the Char under one banner. Starting a golden age, they expanded and settled new regions beyond their homelands, east of the Blaze Ridge Mountains. This included Ascalon. Though they were primitive in comparison to the other races of the time, this did not stop them from taking territory from both the dwarves and Grawl, amongst other races. Taking advantage of instability amongst the Char, when their leader, the Khan-Ur, was assassinated, and using the powers of their human gods, humanity was able to drive the Char from the plateau and found the kingdom of Ascalon. Essentially, that was the original cause of the struggle between the two races. The Char wanted the humans out and their lands back. The kingdom of Ascalon lasted a long time, however, with the Char being unable to successfully retake the territory. Humanity built the Great Wall, a mighty defensive structure that spanned the whole plateau, protecting all the cities and settlements of southern Ascalon from Char attack in the north. The Char continued to be unorganized, and their attacks repeatedly failed. Frustrated, they went out to seek their own gods to help tip the scales in their favor. Years of peace during this time allowed for the humans of Ascalon to build beyond the wall. The Char finally got their act together and led an organized attack on Ascalon, pushing the Ascalonians all the way back to the wall. The king at the time, King Adalbern, sent out a call for heroes to defend the kingdom, and these heroes were able to hold the wall and defend southern Ascalon from the invasion. Frustrated yet again, the Char turned to ancient dark magics and their newfound gods, and summoned dark crystals to fall upon the kingdom. This apocalyptic event destroyed every remaining settlement and toppled parts of the wall. Despite a valiant defense by the survivors, the Char were still able to overwhelm their defenses and retake much of Ascalon. The destruction, known as the Searing, left Ascalon a wasteland, desolate and inhospitable. Some Ascalonians stayed in Ascalon City, and others, joining Prince Rurik, who was opposed to some of the king's ideas of defending the kingdom to the very end, went to find safety in the nation of Crita to the west. The Char relentlessly assaulted Ascalon city. In a last desperate attack, the Char had the city of Ascalon surrounded. All of their other settlements and defenses had fallen, and King Adalbern, in desperation, unleashed a powerful magic with his sword known as the Foe Fire. This transformed the defending humans into vengeful ghosts, and also destroyed the Char army in a single explosion. The remaining Char settled Ascalon, founded the Black Citadel, and spent time developing technology as ferocious and powerful as themselves, so they would not have to rely on magic or false gods ever again. With Ascalon having fallen, the legions of the Char also went on to attack the other nations. Crita was mysteriously able to defend against them, while the Kingdom of Or sunk beneath the ocean in a cataclysm of their own doing. Ascalon in Guild Wars 2 is now a land with many ruins and a history filled with struggle. Two races, the Char and the humans, wanted to call this plateau their home. It was lush and verdant, but now scarred. The plains of Ashford still are marked by the searing crystals, and the human spirits, created by the Foe Fire, harass the Char settlements. Ascalonian ruins can be found all over, and the remains of the Great Wall can be seen from anywhere in the plateau. Because of all this rich lore, I feel like creating a character that's a Char in Guild Wars 2 is one of the more interesting choices a new player can make. There's just so much to cover, and this video only scratches the very surface. Perhaps in another video, I can go further in depth on important characters and locations and get all the details, but for now, I think I will end this video here. In the Guild Wars 1 Prophecy story, the brave heroes of Ascalon follow the prince to the Shiver Peaks, hoping to reach Crita and ultimately safety for all the refugees. So in the next video, I will go ahead and cover the lore for those frosty mountains and of course the dwarves. But most importantly, I will also cover the Norn for Guild Wars 2, because the Norn have traveled southward and settled the Shiver Peak Mountains 250 years later. Thanks for watching part 1 of the introductory guide to Guild Wars lore for the new Guild Wars 2 player. If you liked the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. I also stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/DuskCerberus, where I play a variety of different games, including a bunch of Guild Wars 2, because that's one of my favorite games right now. Please consider supporting me on that platform and joining one of my legions in the domain. So don't worry, part 2 will be uploaded soon. Until then, safe adventures.